Metropolitan Council. Oh, but first, last word also on what Protodeacon Nazari had to say about Fairhaven and monks. The whole proposal about the possibility of monks at Fairhaven is a good one. But it has all these it depenses factors. Exactly based on the availability of anyone. There's no lack of willingness on the part of Metropolitan Vladimir. Because Metropolitan Vladimir, when we were there last time, was very strongly supportive of the proposal. And we can have, by having such a circulating group of monks, as Protodeacon Nazari described, Ukraine could have a presence in Canada, and we can have a connection with Ukraine. We help the monks learn how to speak English, and the monks also learn that the North American culture, Canadian culture, is not Ukraine. So it's a mutually beneficial arrangement. Big trick is who would be these monks, and what spiritual father in his right or her right mind, could be a spiritual mother depending on what happens, what spiritual father in his or her right mind is going to send his or her spiritual children into this desert, which it certainly is compared to those monastic families, to risk their spiritual lives here for us, which is what it's tantamount to. So, what we don't want is to think, as many people in the States and a few in Canada have thought, like that baseball guy, build it and they will come. Monks, you cannot build it ahead of time. The monks make the place where they live, and they are the ones that turn it into a monastic home. Anybody who builds a monastic-looking building without having the monks, sooner or later ends up doing what I saw happen in one case, where the so-called monastery is a monastic-looking tea room. And this diocese is not going there. And who's going to tea at Fairhaven anyway? All right, finally, Metropolitan Council. I made notes so I don't digress anymore, because we do need a coffee. There's a 3-year term involved in service in the Metropolitan Council when it has to do with us. Until now, the term has been in principle from assembly to assembly, which is why it's a 3-year term. It would be nice to be able to meet a little oftener and maybe a day shorter. But we'll see what God blesses. The periodicity anyway is assembly to assembly, like it is in any diocese, and we're the only one that's so long. The rest of them are annual, so they can change every year, as some of them do. For the past 2 or 3 periods, because I'm old now and completely distracted, I can't remember exactly how many of these 3-year periods, specifically because of OCA central administration needs, and also because of, in this context, because of the different periodicity of the All-American Council, it was determined until now, that in those periods, that the actual period of service of Metropolitan Council members would coincide with the All-American Council itself, so that the newly determined representatives would have about a year to become informed before they actually took the responsibility. Dave went through that. However, since things began to get better, various authorities on the Metropolitan Council have noticed that this is what we are doing. And they have, well, I wrote it nicely, but in fact, they were not happy. they expressed their strong verbal displeasure. I didn't get any notes or anything yet from anybody. But it was strongly, verbally pointed out that a certain diocese is doing this and it isn't right. So I guess we don't have the sense of the need of our contributions has changed. So, because of this, I'm now, in our current context, figuring that we, and we have special circumstances right now because Father Cyprian Hutchin, who has been one of our representatives until now, retired. So he's not going there anymore. He's free. He's free. Well, it isn't that he didn't like doing it. It's just that he's free to do what he really wants to do now. So he's certainly in retirement, not going to be dragging his bones to these meetings. So, and anyway, the person who's dragging his bones to these meetings has to be a member of the Metropolitan Council, and when you're retired, you can't be. So, huh? The Metropolitan, yeah, Archdiocese of Canada. Yeah, sorry. I better drink coffee soon. So, my bridge proposal is this. In the first place, the representatives are chosen from among the diocesan council members at the first meeting. So that meeting happens in October. But it just so happened, this year, but it just so happens that the Metropolitan Council is meeting 2 weeks earlier. So, for this meeting, Father Alexander will be our representative, and David Greer will continue to represent us in September at this meeting. And also, because of his work on the strategic planning committee, which is not unimportant at all, as those who participated in the meetings yesterday will be aware, I would want him to carry on for at least one more session of the Metropolitan Council into next year. The All-American Council, anyway, comes next autumn, so he would also be free, or could be free, or well, you never know for sure what happens, Dave, anyway, as you're aware. So this will allow the October meeting to determine the lay representative and the lay representative whose person will be determined in October to become informed also by communicating with David and perhaps even participating as an observer in the spring meeting with him. Sort of, I don't know how much I'll get my head taken off for that proposal, but we'll give it a try.
Could you explain what the concern is with what we're doing now?
As all the other dioceses, members change according to their diocesan assemblies. Their periodicity is exactly assembly to the diocesan assembly to diocesan assembly, and it has nothing to do with their assembly.
So with the council.
So the All-American Council.
The only issue is we're different.
We're different, and they don't want us to be different.
Question.
Yes.
Is our current practice contrary to any requirement of the statute of the Orthodox Church in America?
No, but that doesn't, yes, no, it's not contrary to anything
Awesome.
because it is definitely not prescribed. That sort of thing is not prescribed, it's just custom.
So what works for us might not work for them.
Well, Father Philip, you don't have to be me in these meetings for 23 years, of which I frankly am sick and tired and beyond. Yeah, I am really tired of those meetings where you have to say over and over again, we are Canadians and we are not Americans. They don't stop using Americocentric language. That's not, just because I'm saying I'm tired of it all doesn't mean I'm throwing in the towel or anything and running away and crying to Mama. I'm just saying.
Someone says make Washington.
But
Been there, done that.
give them an opportunity to paint the White House another color yet. We have enough malcomprehension of us Canadians as it is.
But this would help them understand we're different.
23 years of me and our delegates saying we are different has not made any difference at all.
Not moving on this, you'll show.
That's French,
No.
send a French delegate.
I'm just saying that we did our bending. The purpose of the bending that we did in the first place was to help them through the crisis. The Metropolitan Council needed help from our particular delegates, which included Dave, until now.